In today's video, I'm going to share with you what I believe is some shocking data around retirees' goals, spending, and ongoing peace of mind. As we weave through this data, I have two big takeaways that I believe will improve your standard of living in a big way in retirement. Let's get into it. First, a retirement researcher named David Blanchett has led the way on some groundbreaking research that shows retirement spending drops as one ages, across all wealth levels on average. You might have seen us refer to this as the retirement spending smile. The higher your starting income, the bigger drop you would expect to see from this spending smile. This makes intuitive sense, as the higher your starting income, the more discretionary spending you likely have. As you age, you are less able to utilize that spending, and so discretionary spending drops. But this research is at odds with retirees' expected spending. Only 16% of retirees expect to see a drop in spending as they age. 43% expect to spend the same inflation-adjusted income through time, and then 16% plan to actually spend more as they age. The gap in this data relative to expectation leads to a few negative outcomes. Since you are overestimating spending, there's a good chance that you will work longer than you need to because your plan looks weaker with this overestimation. You will likely spend less than you otherwise could at the outset of retirement, thus getting less joy from your money. You will likely feel worse about the likelihood of success, thus zapping peace of mind as you move through retirement. If we update the idea of the 4% rule to follow this spending smile, we see the rule updates to 4.73%, an 18% increase in starting spending. What could that increase mean for your retirement? But with this research, we also find that retirement isn't just about spending for most retirees. For many retirees, they have a secondary goal of growing their assets in retirement. 53% of retirees had a goal of growing their assets to at least some degree from the level at which they started. 24% are comfortable with staying at the same level, and then only 24% were comfortable spending down their assets. Now, I'm not saying any of these retirees are right or wrong based on their goal. Your goal should be just that, yours. I have clients that fall into all categories, but I would push you to consider and be very intentional in your goals, as they will lead to a better plan. Your goals need to have hierarchies, and you need to know that you are sacrificing X in order to achieve Y. To grow your wealth in retirement, in some combination, you either have to work longer than you need to or spend less than you otherwise could. Is that worth doing in your situation? Do you want to grow your wealth for the benefit of your children, or do you want to grow your wealth because of the fear of uncertainty? One goal is far more rational than the other. The good news is many retirees follow their original goal. Across all wealth levels, 58% of retirees spend less than their portfolio earns, 26% spend what they make, and only 14% actually draw down their portfolio. Now again, I'd ask the question, what is the reason for this? Is it intentional, or is it a result of a non-choice of sorts? For instance, you'd expect that 58% of retirees that spend less than their portfolio makes to have a massive amount of peace of mind. And I'm all for this if this is the outcome that is achieved. If you need a massive safety margin in wealth in order to feel that peace of mind, then you are getting a pretty big return on that excess wealth. But if we dug into the data, I don't think that's what we would find. And so it begs the question, how many retirees are continuing to build wealth based on the fear of uncertainty, that something might go wrong in the future? Zooming out and looking more broadly, we see that retirees seem to build wealth as they age, and further, as a group, median retirement wealth is rising after inflation and has done so since 1989, meaning that on average, retirees are more prepared for retirement on a raw wealth basis, and beyond this, continuing to grow wealth as they age. And so know, if your goal is to grow wealth in retirement, there's a good chance you will, and thus driving home the importance of goals in planning. Another interesting finding from retirees is that recent retirees are far more fearful than those that have been retired for 10 plus years. And this makes complete sense for a number of reasons. The transition to retirement can be terrifying for some. You'll go from earning a steady income at a job to now having to live off a bucket of money for the remainder of your life. What happens if something happens? It's a massive life change that brings with it a lot of stress. We'll come back to this chart in 1 second, but this creates a tug of war of sorts. We know that the first phase of your retirement is the most important for a lot of reasons. Sequence of return risk has its biggest impact here. You are at the youngest point in your retirement and therefore have the biggest opportunity to enjoy your spending. But at the same time, this is the most fearful time to spend. Tax planning and Roth conversions are also most important during this phase, which leads to seemingly bigger withdrawals due to taxes. How the heck are you supposed to navigate this? I have an answer at the end, but going back to the data, know that things will likely improve as you get more comfortable with retirement and this transition. Retirees of 10 plus years are more comfortable with investment risk. They have a higher level of peace of mind and fear far less about future concerns. This is likely because they have seen uncertainty doesn't always mean negativity. There are hugely positive outcomes that come from uncertainty as well. And this is where I want to diverge and start talking about our first important takeaway. When someone is fearful of the future, it's very likely this grows into a sort of pessimism. And know that pessimism has an extreme cost. Let's talk about this tremendous cost. Turn on the news and you will likely hear about how bad things are, how much worse things are getting in the economy, in the climate, how much worse violence is getting, and more. This idea is usually conveyed by using individual examples. X bank just failed, there was a tragic shooting in another state, and these are no doubt negative events, and I don't mean to minimize them. But if we zoom out, on average, almost everything is getting better. Let's go back to 1950, which was thought of as a golden time in America. Since 1950, median household income has nearly doubled after inflation. The average home was a little more than 900 square feet, and today it's more than double that. It used to be a commonplace for a child to share a room with a sibling. Now it's far less common. The average amount an American works has gone down around 11% since 1950. And so we can see that a lot of things have gotten better since this golden time in America. Zooming out further, we can see that the amount a family spends on necessities like food has steadily been falling over the decades. The share of the global population in poverty has steadily been falling. Violence in the US and globally has been falling. Climate-related deaths are down. Literacy and the number of people connected to the internet is rising. Empirically speaking, on the vast majority of data sets, things just keep getting better. Yet at the same time, we are told that things are getting steadily worse. As a side note, in history, this is not uncommon. Often, expectations rise faster than wealth in a given society. And so, although wealth and well-being may be rising, our expectations of how things should be rises faster. And the reason this matters in retirement is because fear breeds pessimism, and pessimism breeds worse decision-making. If you are pessimistic about the future, you are far less likely to spend what you should or can from your plan because you never know what's coming around the corner, what next bad thing is going to happen. Further, you are less likely to invest in the stock market, which is a bit of a proxy for economic well-being in a given country. Over the past 100 years, we've dealt with incredible uncertainty in America. Yet, the US stock market has been surprisingly resilient. Based on your goals, having some stock market exposure is incredibly important to ensuring retirement success. This has been proven over more than a century's worth of data. Now, I'm not saying bad things can't happen. They surely can. But I see a lot of pessimistic retirees making bad moves because they think they know better. They exited the market in 2022 thinking that the stock market was going to crash further in 2023. And thus far, they have been wrong and hurt their plan by betting against data and a long-term plan. My goal is not for you to be overly optimistic. That's as unwise as being pessimistic. What you should aim for is realism, being realistic. Further, my second takeaway from this data is the overwhelming importance of a retirement plan. A lot of fear and uncertainty can be eliminated with planning. I regularly meet a retiree who is working longer than they need to, or another retiree that is terrified of retirement because they are overestimating healthcare costs before the age of 65. Now, not every variable inside of a retirement plan will go exactly as planned. In fact, we shouldn't be depending that a single variable goes exactly as planned. A spouse can pass away early. Market returns may be slightly lower than expected, but planning will get you far closer to your goals than simply licking your finger and holding it up to the wind. And this is the experience of retirees as well. Across the board, confidence increases when equipped with a well-built retirement plan. It's not a magic wand. It won't give you complete peace of mind, but in retirement, we are trying to stack as many odds in our favor as possible. And it's clear that a retirement plan will do this. Now, if you like this video, let me know in the comments below. If you want to learn about 6 strategies that will increase your peace of mind outside of just the numbers, click on this video right here. And always remember, you don't need more money. You need a better plan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.